I am not a baker. I don't bake. My entire baking experience is I have baked some potatoes and I made some snickerdoodle cookies the other day that surprisingly turned out pretty well. So I thought I would make a video of me, a non-baker, attempting to bake purely according to some instructions I found on the internet. So my D&D group, I keep saying so, that's so weird. My D&D group and I have this thing where, you know, somebody makes dinner, somebody makes dessert, we get together, we play Dungeons and Dragons. It's my turn for dessert, and I've been tasked with making brownies. So last time we had brownies, they were store-bought. I thought this time I'd actually make them. And here we go. So I went to Google, as you do, and I looked up making brownies. But I don't like cakey brownies. If I want cake, I'll eat cake. I don't like, I'm specific with what I want. So I found this thing via Google on marthastewart.com. Martha Stewart, if for some godforsaken reason you're watching this, don't sue me. I'm not making any money off from this, and it's free advertising for you. Good deal, right? marthastewart.com, and this thing was about, oops, I lost it. There we go. Girl Scout cookies. I don't want Girl Scout cookies. How'd that happen? All right, let me just click on the link again that I had emailed myself, or texted myself rather. All right, it says, what is the difference between cakey and fudgy brownies? I want fudgy brownies. So it goes into blah, blah, blah. You can read it. It's on marthastewart.com. And then there's this recipe for Thomas's cakey brownies. No thanks, Tom. Not into the cake. And Tommy Boy's fudgy brownies. Tom, don't get mad at me. I know you probably don't go by Tommy Boy. Then it says, get the fudgy brownie recipe. Boink! Thomas's fudgy brownies. So, not go into it too much, you can read it yourself. But apparently cakey brownies have more flour and less other shit. And then fudgy brownies have more other shit and less flour. I want fudgy brownies. So ingredients: 1 stick unsalted butter, cut into large pieces. I haven't done that yet. 6 ounces bittersweet chocolate chopped. So I was going to make chocolate chip cookies a while ago, and then I never ended up doing it because I'm not a baker. And I got these dark chocolate baking chips because I like dark chocolate. They are Lily's Less Sugar Sweet Life Stevia Sweetened 55% cocoa, no sugar added chips, if you care. So I don't know what 6 ounces of bittersweet chocolate chopped really means. I mean, I get it, but I don't know where I would get like a whole chunk of bittersweet chocolate. So I'm using this. It's 9 ounces, so I'll leave a little bit out. 1.5 cups of sugar. I don't have a measuring cup. All right, that's a 2-cup measuring cup. And here is sugar and brown sugar. I happen to have this stuff around the house, sugar and brown sugar and stuff, because I've been making root beer. And maybe I'll make a video about that someday, but it's really yummy to make your own root beer. 3 large eggs. Here we go, 3 large eggs. 1/4 cup unsweetened Dutch processed cocoa powder. Now, I did not have any cocoa powder in my house. So I went on the Googles, or actually no, I went on the Amazons, and I just looked up Dutch processed cocoa powder, and it gave me Anthony's Organic Culinary Grade Cocoa Powder, extra rich, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I got. And I realize it is not Dutch processed, but okay, I don't know what the difference is, so we'll go with that. 1/2 teaspoon of coarse salt. I have salt. I don't know if it's coarse or not. It's just generic salt. I try not to use salt. This salt's probably really old. I don't know if that's bad for you or not. because I have high blood pressure, so I don't do much with salt. 1.5 cups plus 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour sifted. Okay. Here's some flour. Here's some flour. I hope that's 1.5 cups. Why do I have flour, you may ask, especially when it's been used like that? Because I like cooking and thickening up sauces and stuff. I use flour for some of that, so that's why I have flour. I half did 2 tablespoons. Okay, there's this sifted. Okay. Yeah, so that's all of the directions. Then it tells me to preheat my oven to 350, which it just beat. It's at 350. And I have a thing of water boiling, because one of the things that attracted me to this when I looked at it was it's all done in this one thing. I don't have to like do a bunch of dishes, so that's cool. Well, not all, you got other things too. Alright, so anyway, step 1, preheat the oven, line an 8-inch square baking pan. So I don't know what a baking pan is, but I have these Pyrex thingies, and I'm pretty sure Pyrex is just like oven safe. If not, we'll find out, won't we? No stovetop, no broiler, microwave safe. Doesn't say no oven. Alright, so it says 8-inch square. This one is 9.5 by 8 inches. This one, whoops, is 8.5 by 6.5. I'll go with the smaller one because I think I want thicker brownies, right? Thicker ones? I don't know. And there's not a whole lot of us, so that ought to be enough for 4 people. Alright, it says line it with parchment paper, so I got some parchment paper. And like that. I don't know. This is why I specified I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so it'll probably be held down better when there's shit in it, right? Slight overhang on all sides. Melt butter and chocolate in a double broiler or heat-proof bowl set. Now, that's why I have that boiling, and this says no stovetop, no broiler, conventional oven, and microwave safe. So probably good. Yep. So melt the butter and chocolate. All right. So where'd my chocolate go? Right here. I need less than that. Put some back. Let's see if the whole, I'm supposed to have 6, the whole thing's 9. So about a third of it. So why don't we do... Oh, here we go. Whoa! That made a mess. No, doggy, you don't get chocolate. I also have arthritis, so I don't move so well. Basically, all you need to know is I am a broken down fat old nerd trying to bake something. So if I can do it, you can do it. And probably much better. It's going to get cooked, so it'll be clean, right? Yeah, I need 2/3 of this. So this is at 1.5 cups. So I need 1 cup of it, right? Lost some more again. 1 cup. Ah! That's not where it goes. It goes in the bowl. In the bowl. Okay. I don't have any chocolate on the ground, do I? Maybe this is why I don't bake. I don't want my dogs to eat chocolate and get sick and die. If you don't know that, dogs should not have chocolate. No. Apparently it's highly toxic to them. Or so my vet says. And my wife. And I trust them both. And the butter. It says the butter should be in chunks. So let's see here. 1 stick of unsalted butter. Open it up. It's going to be a really long video, I think, or maybe I'll edit the hell out of it and make myself look cooler. I don't know if that's possible. Alright, so in chunks. Okay, and then melt it on this thing. Ooh, did I put too much water in there? Yep. Too much water, boiling over, cover, you know what I mean. Words. Take some water out. There we go. Alright. So that should melt that. Melt the butter in the chocolate. Stir in until smooth. Remove from heat. Whisk in sugar. Eggs 1 at a time. Okay, so this says, or maybe I read it in something, I don't know. Somewhere I saw that if you want them chewy, use brown sugar. And I'm really sure what chewy means. I like gooey, and a little bit chewy sounds good, but I don't want to I don't want taffy brownies. That would be weird. So, how much sugar total? 1.5 cups of sugar. So, I will do da 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 da. Maybe a little more. Alright, that's about 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we'll put a cup of white sugar. Whatever. Oh my God, stop barking. Stop. I'm trying to make a video. Shut your mouth. Really? Faye. I don't want to hear you. Neither do the YouTube people. You can tell I'm super professional. A little more. Not quite. One and a half cups of sugar. Part brown, part organic granulated cane sugar from Organics. Man, I should be making money for advertising. I'm just saying what I'm using, so like you know if that matters. Okay. Melt that shit. Then whisk in the sugar and eggs, I'll just use a fork. Until combined, whisk in cocoa and salt, fold in flour. Okay, so how much cocoa? Didn't think this through, did I? Alright, I have the spatula. I'm not sure I've ever used it. Is that what it's supposed to use this for? I don't know. I'll go with the old fork. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so that's that stuff. Oh yeah, I needed to measure out the cocoa. How much cocoa was that? 1/4 cup. That's a 1/3 cup. Really? Dog agrees. That's a 1/2 cup. That's a 1 cup. I should have a 1/4 cup thing around here. You know what? It's in the dog food. I've been using it to measure out the Chihuahua's food. Alright. Well, that's the 1/2 cup. 1/4 is a little less than 1/3. Because I'm not going to go get the thing out of the dog food. Alright, so that's less than 1/3. Probably around 1/4. Sure. Half a teaspoon of coarse salt. I have high blood pressure, so I'm not down with the salt. So that's a 1/2 teaspoon. 1/8. There's no 1/4 teaspoon. Alright, well, and that is where I ran out of file size. I don't normally do videos at all, so I wasn't thinking max file size, which I should have been because I'm kind of a computer nerd, but I wasn't, so it cut off. End of story. So here I am on my second attempt. The first attempt went great. People loved it. It tasted wonderful. My friend told me it was some of the best brownies she'd ever had. Not sure I believe that really, but you know, I think they really did enjoy it. So here we go with my second attempt. I've already measured out the cocoa. I have the parchment paper. I have the stuff in the broiler. So I think I'm caught up to exactly where I was before, I believe. But one thing I need to do is I'm going to set clock timer 10 minutes. Let's make it 12 minutes. Why not? 12 minutes. Start. Alright, so in 12 minutes I'm going to stop the recording and start it again. So I start a new file I don't get cut off and be all sad because I think I'm entertaining and I'm really not because I'm not on the video. Yeah, so where were we? Oh, I have my timer showing and not my recipe. Recipe, boink! Melt butter and chocolate, double broiler, heat blah blah blah, smooth, whisk and sugar. Okay, did I measure out the sugar before? I don't know if I did or not, so I'll do it again. It was 1.5 cups of sugar. I did 1/2 cup of this stuff. Ish, I mean, right? Ish. Sure, 1/2 cup. And I got the chewiness. One thing I learned last time is I pulled the pan out and it just looked like it was still gooey on the top. So I shut the heat off and I put it back in when I was done cooking it. And I put it back in for a little while longer, 5 minutes, I don't know. And then I pulled it out and it still looked like it was, and I touched it and it wasn't. It was just shiny and gooey looking because that's the way it came out. So I overcooked it so it was a little bit extra chewy around the outsides. I don't know really, I mean, it goes to show you, you can overcook these and they're still good, right? I would have preferred it to be a little less chewy, a little bit more gooey all the way through. But even with the extra cooking, granted I had to shut the oven off, but even with the extra cooking, it came out really well. So it's not as delicate as I've previously been led to believe, right? So there's the sugar. The cocoa, I measured out my 1/4 cup and I put it in here. And again, I used the 1/3 cup and guessed what a 1/4 might be. So the salt. As I was saying before, salt and I don't get along so well. I'm never sure, some recipes just don't work at all without salt, like if you ever tried sodium-free bread. Blah. But usually you can put in less salt than they say, and it comes out pretty good, in my experience. Again, that's with cooking, not baking. So here I have my 1/8 teaspoon, just like I had before. Let me get something. All right, almost fell over. So, 1/8. Boink. Zip. Boink. 1/8 plus 1/8. Do this in your head. You have 1 and 1 and you add across and you end up with 2/8, right? Which you can reduce down to 1/4, which is half of 1/2. So this is half the sodium, half the salt from the recipe as called for, which, like I said, came out pretty good last time. Yeah. And then flour. We need to measure out the flour. So the flour is 1.5. No. Where's the flour? 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. Okay? And one thing I noticed last time, groovy enough, remember I had this thing out because it called for sifted flour, and I'm not really sure what the hell that means, but this says pre-sifted. Score! So I was like, screw sifting, this has already been done. Now I get some flour out of there. Tablespoon. It's not quite a 1/2 cup yet. Alright, that's pretty much a 1/2 cup. Plus 2 tablespoons, so there's 1. There's 2. A little bit fell over the side, so I'll just add a tiny more. Alright. You can see I am not being super precise. I don't give a shit if it comes out wrong. People taste it and go, no thanks, and then I throw it away and I do something else. I'm not super rich, so I can't really afford to do that, but I'm fairly confident, based on last time, that this is going to work again. Yeah. So, now we need to go check on this thing. Get out my handy fork. Oh, that looks pretty liquidy to me. Alright, how did I get this out of there last time? I think last time I had a bigger glass thing, so it was kind of easier to get a hold of. Hot! So, use an oversized glass thing if you're going to do this. Woo! Doggy! Hallelujah! Whew! That is not cold. Alright, so where'd I put my fork? Alright, this is super soupy. So, yeah. It says stir until smooth. I'd say that's got the smoothness. Now, one thing that happened this time that didn't happen last time is I think I splashed a little bit of water in here, and it warned you not to do that. So we'll see what happens with the overall thing and the stuff. But I mean, it wouldn't have been much. It's just when I was like, oh, it's hot, splash. But all right, I'm babbling. Whisk in sugar. Sugar. Ba 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 ba. Now what happened last time is this got kind of funky looking. Like right now it looks like a nice smooth, you know, oh, you probably should be able to see that. I have it on autofocus, I hope it's working. Yeah, you should be able to see that. It looks nice and smooth and creamy and pretty. And then by the time I got done putting in the sugar, it was like kind of gritty looking, like, I mean, I guess because sugar is kind of gritty, and it didn't look right to me, but it came out good, so that's the way it is. Mix that in, and I get bored. I'm supposed to do it a little bit at a time and slowly, whatever. I am not, I don't even know a famous baker. I am not a famous baker. I'm not, oh, Buddy. Yeah, Buddy the Guido from New York. And I don't mean that disparagingly. I have a cousin in New York that calls himself a Guido, even though we're not even remotely Italian. I think it just has to do with like the people he hangs out with or something. I don't know. No clue. No, he's from New Jersey, isn't he? Buddy's from Jersey. I'm sorry, Buddy. I know that's an insult. I'm from upstate New York, but I was born in Jersey, so I have no dog in the fight. But apparently Jersey hates New York, and New York hates Jersey, and, you know, good for you. Again, I'm not trying to make anybody cry. I'm not trying to be, you know, if I say something offensive, feel free to say it in the comments. And I won't use it anymore because, you know, I'm a pretty ignorant kind of guy when it comes to a lot of things, but I try to be, you know, nice and stuff. So that's the sugar. Eggs one at a time. One. I'm cracking eggs, dummy. Doesn't mean there's someone at the door. Ah, crap. It said one at a time. I did too. Life will go on, I am certain. I don't think it's going to really completely ruin the recipe that I put in 2 eggs at once instead of 1. I'm not sure why that would matter at all. I mean, theoretically in my brain you should be able to put all 3 in and there shouldn't be any difference, right? Alright. I should have music playing so this would be more interesting, but I don't. So suck it! Suck it, Sean. Okay. Whisk in cocoa and salt. My cocoa and salt. With my whisk fork. Because, you know, I do have whisks, but to me, they're an even bigger pain in the butt to use than a fork, and harder to clean. I'm lazy. The only thing with doing all this stuff is the same thing that happened last time. My arthritis hurts, right? But we'll get through it. We're almost there. And this is the part that I don't get at all. I refuse to Google it. You guys can Google it. You can see the correct term, what it means to do these things. I'm not going to, because I want this to be like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm making it, let's see how it comes out, so that you don't get intimidated. Oh, and my thingy's going off, so dismiss. So, where was I? Oh yeah, I don't want this to be, this is supposed to be, you know, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not going to look up the terms. I'm not going to. So it says, the point is, it says fold in the flour. I don't know how to fold a liquid, even a thick soupy liquid. So I am just kind of stirring slowly and doing big like boom, 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 and that's my version of folding, because it sounds kind of like what that would mean, I guess. I don't know. So here we go with folding in the flour. As you can see, probably can see, maybe, I don't know. It is getting kind of that gritty looking, like I talked about, or it was even more gritty looking when it was just sugar, but yeah. And why not? Because you don't want to sit here and watch me forever dumping in flour. But I am doing this, the only part I plan on speeding up or not recording is the actual time in the oven, because what are you going to do, sit there and watch for whatever time, well, 35 minutes I think it was, while it's in the oven? That seems goofy. But the rest of it, I want it to be real time, so you know how long it takes, what exactly it takes, what I screw up and what could be better, and all that fun stuff. Because like I said, the point is, this is for people that want to bake something but are kind of intimidated by it, like I have been my whole life. Baking, I've always heard, oh, baking is chemistry, baking is a science, which it is, right? I mean, certain amounts of this, certain amounts of that, whatever, yeah. But I don't think it has to be intimidating, and I'm sure for really fancy desserts that have to be done just right, there's more, but I don't think it has to be as scary as people make it out to be. Fold in flour, pour batter into the pan. Here we have the exact same pan I used last time. No difference. And this is weird with the parchment paper because it makes the, it's not like exactly the shape of the fan. The pan, there's, you know, folds in it and stuff and whatever. So we pour all this junk in here. That's probably a nice fun sound to hear on the video, I don't know. So like I said, I'm really not going to do much in the way of editing. I want you to be able to see, and you can fast forward through bits you want to fast forward through, and you can watch bits you don't, but, you know, I hate the cooking shows that make everything look super easy because they're like, we do this, this, and this, and then they pull out something else and it turns into this. And, like, really? That didn't help. So there we go. That's about as good as I can do it. That's good. Oh, and one thing that's different this time, I didn't have those same chips, but my wife had got these. I think she got them to snack on herself, but I'm using them. There's still some left she can eat. They're Guitard San Francisco Sante dark chocolate baking chips made with coconut sugar, 17% cacao. Fancy way of saying cocoa, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. Anyway, bake until set and a toothpick inserted in the center comes out with moist crumbs. 35 to 40 minutes. I don't have toothpicks. I forgot to preheat the oven. So what I'll do is I will wait for the oven to preheat, then I'll stick that in for 40 minutes, and then I'll start it up again when I'm ready to take it out. Okay? Okay, so what I did was I set the timer for 35 minutes. I waited for it to beep. I turned the camera back on, and here we go. And this is what it looks like. It says to cool it in the pan for 15 minutes. I don't know where I put my thing, but it's, trust me, it's cool it in the pan for 15 minutes. And then take it out and cool it more on a cooling rack, which I don't really have a cooling rack, but I figured this will do. It came inside like a sheet pan, and I usually use it like I put bacon on it and make the bacon in the oven. So I figure that'll do. So yeah, this is as far as I'm gonna go. When I take it out, when it's cool, I'll just put a glove on, flop it onto my hand, flop it down onto there, let it cool some more, and then take this out, throw it away, wash the dish, eat the stuff. So I will put up pictures of this when it's all done and ready to be cut up. And there we are, all done. That is how to bake a brownie if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay, I was just going to do pictures of this, but these did not come out as good as last time. Focus. You can see they are a little bit raw in the middle. So these were done, I set the timer for 35 minutes, then I turned on the camera when the timer went off and talked to you for a second, then I went over, so probably about 38 minutes, something like that, total cook time. And let's see here. I am not a videographer. See the gooiness? I mean, it's good, and I'm going to eat it. But I think it probably could have gone for 40 to 45 minutes without a problem. So the other ones were actually better, that I cooked for longer, as far as being done goes. But I do like the ooey gooey center, so I'm not complaining. And that is poorly focused brownies. And thank you very much.